Minecraft 1.21, the Tricky Trials update, is officially here. With everything from new blocks to items, mobs, and structures to explore, I thought that today I would take a comprehensive look at everything that Minecraft 1.21 has to offer. Since the trial chambers are the biggest part of the update, we'll save that for last, and first talk about some of the smaller features that came with the update that don't necessarily relate to the trial chambers. The first of these is the update's 20 brand new paintings, created by artists Sarah Boving and Christopher Zetterstrand. All of these look incredible, being great new additions to the game's selection of paintings. Personally, my favorites are Sunflowers, Backyard, Orb, and Unpacked. Second, you can now attach leads to boats. While this might not sound like something that's too cool, what this means is that now if you get villagers into a boat, you can put a lead on that boat and fly away with it trailing behind you, allowing for very easy transportation of villagers over long distances. The last unrelated feature is the Crafter, a brand new redstone component that allows the player to auto-craft items. The inside of the block resembles a crafting table, having a 3x3 grid that the players can put items into by hand or with hoppers, and once a redstone pulse is applied, the crafter will spit out one of the item being crafted. You can also block out some spaces within the crafter to allow hoppers to not put items in certain slots, making more complex recipes like pickaxes, buckets, brewing stands, and bows possible to automate. With those features out of the way, let's dive into everything revolving around the biggest chunk of the update, the trial chambers. To actually be able to find the structure, the cartographer villager will now be able to sell the trial map, which, similar to other maps sold by them, will lead the player straight to a trial chamber. Once entered, it's immediately noticeable that this structure is huge and is built out of a handful of all new blocks. These include all new variants of tuff like polished tuff, tuff bricks, chiseled tuff, and chiseled tuff bricks, along with some new copper blocks too, including chiseled copper, copper grates, copper doors and trapdoors, and the most interesting of these, the copper bulb. The copper bulb is an all-new light source found within the trial chambers and exhibits unique lighting properties revolving around copper oxidation. A freshly placed copper bulb will glow with a full light level of 15, but over time as it oxidizes, the light level will decrease, becoming super dim as it completely oxidizes. If you use an axe to remove the oxidation, the light will come back, and like with other copper blocks, using honeycomb locks the copper bulb's current light levels. As you continue to explore the structure, you'll come across an all-new spawner type, the trial spawner. Once you approach it, the spawner will activate, spawning in waves of mobs for the player to defeat. Each room can also have multiple spawners in it, only adding to the challenge level. These spawners can contain one of 11 different possible mobs, with the blocks on the floor around the spawner indicating what will come out. These include zombies, husks, spiders, slimes, silverfish, baby zombies, cave spiders, strays, skeletons, and two all-new mobs, the Bogged and the Breeze. The Bogged is an all-new variant of skeleton native to the swamp, which is apparent based on its muddy, mossy texture. Similar to the Stray, the Bogged will shoot tipped arrows at the player, but rather than them giving slowness, the arrows will poison the player, making them quite dangerous in battle. The other mob, the Breeze, is a blaze-like entity that can jump great distances around the player, firing wind charges at them to knock them around. These charges can also interact with the traps set up around the rooms of the trial chamber, including arrows shooting at the player, trapdoors opening below their feet, and water spawning in to slow the player down. Upon death, the Breeze drops Breeze Rods, an all-new material used to craft a weapon, which we'll talk about later. After completing all of the waves of mobs, the top of the trial spawner will open and give you some basic loot like bread or potatoes, but the most important of these by far is the trial key. Using this, you can head over to the all-new vault block, which when opened with the key will shoot out some of the structure's real loot. Before talking about what the loot is, it should be brought up that there are multiple ways of obtaining loot from the trial chambers. These include from chests scattered around the dungeon, from breaking pots, and from the vaults. While the loot from these vaults does contain pre-existing items like diamonds, golden apples, arrows, and iron ingots, you can also get a handful of brand new items, including 3 new pottery sherds, being Flow, Guster, and Scrape, wind charges, which are what the Breeze shoots at the player, books with all new enchantments that we'll talk about later, the new Guster banner pattern and bolt armor trim, the all-new music disc Precipice, and a special consumable item called the Ominous Bottle. The Ominous Bottle is 1.21's answer to the annoyance that is Bad Omen, making it so that the player needs to consciously choose to drink the potion to give themselves Bad Omen, eliminating the accidental raid starts we've had since 1.14. On top of this though, Bad Omen also has a special use within the trial chambers themselves. You may have noticed this special vault block that can't be opened with normal trial keys while making your way through the structure. If you have Bad Omen and you approach a trial spawner, it'll now activate as an ominous trial spawner, spawning in the same mobs but with higher quantities and some having armor to increase the challenge further. Along with this, 4 all-new potion effects can be randomly applied to the mobs, which include Infested, which has the chance to drop a silverfish when an enemy is damaged, Oozing, which will spawn in 2 slimes upon the enemy's death, Weaving, which will place random cobwebs around upon the enemy's death, and Wind Charging, which causes the enemy to release a burst of wind when it dies. Defeating an Ominous Trial Spawner has the chance to give the player an Ominous Trial Key, which, when used at an Ominous Vault, has a handful of even more unique items for the player to obtain. Just like with the normal vaults, you can still get wind charges and ominous bottles, but you'll also be able to get the flow armor trim and banner pattern, another music disc, Creator, and the heavy core, a crafting material used to make the mace, one of Minecraft's most unique weapons. Crafted with a breeze rod and a heavy core, the mace is the first weapon in Minecraft that has scaled attack damage. While the base attack damage is only 6, the farther you fall before hitting an entity, the more damage it will do. For the first 3 blocks, 4 extra damage is dealt per block. For the next 5 blocks, 2 extra damage is dealt, and anything above that is 1 extra damage per block, meaning theoretically, if you fell from 471 blocks up and landed a hit on it, you could one-hit a Warden. The weapon also comes with 3 all-new enchantments. Breach, which reduces the effectiveness of a target's armor by 15% per damage level, Windburst, which launches the player upward after successfully hitting an enemy, allowing you to chain attacks on it, and Density, which increases the damage dealt by up to 2.5 damage per damage level. So, there you have it, the Tricky Trials update. After looking over everything the update has to offer, I can safely say that it is one of my favorite Minecraft updates ever, and I cannot wait to experience the trial chambers in survival.